Good evening, everyone. We're going to call tonight's meeting to order. We're going to start with an approval of tonight's agenda. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Stevens and Councillor Sherwood, questions or comments on the agenda? All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Any disclosures of direct or indirect pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we had no closed meeting today, so we will proceed straight into the open meeting, and we will start by singing the national anthem. So I'd ask if you could rise if you're able.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
We would like to acknowledge the treaty lands and territory of the Williams Treaty Nations and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. We also recognize that Dufferin County is the traditional territory of the Wendat and the Haudenosaunee and is home to many Indigenous people today. Tonight's meeting is being aired on public television and or streamed live and may be taped for later public broadcast or webcast. Your name is part of the public record and will be included in the minutes of tonight's meeting. Any member of the public connecting via telephone is reminded to press *6 to mute and unmute. Please remain muted until the chair requests comments or questions from the public. Can I have a motion, please, to receive the minutes of the previous council meeting, which was from October 30th? Councillor Prendergast and Councillor Andrews, questions or comments on the minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Before we head into our presentations and delegations tonight, I just wanted to make note for those who are watching that you'll notice that all of council today is wearing purple scarves and ties. That is because November is Women Abuse Prevention Month, and we are supporting Family Transition Place through their Wrapped in Courage campaign. For anyone wishing to purchase a tie or a scarf and support the campaign through Family Transition Place, you can visit them online. They do have them available there. I'm also happy to report that at our last council meeting and at our last county council meeting, both of those councils did declare intimate partner violence an epidemic, which was one of the recommendations that came out of the coroner's inquest. So I'm really proud of both of our councils for taking that step, especially during Women Abuse Prevention Month. So I will head now into presentations, petitions, delegations. We will start with our chair and vice chair of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, Jack Bracken and Aislinn Main. If you want to come up to the podium, please. They will be presenting the 2024 work plan for the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council.
Your Worship, before we head on.
Yes, Councillor Sherwood.
Just before we do the delegation, I meant to ask for a correction in the minutes of the meeting.
Sure, Councillor Sherwood, yep.
Just go back. In the public question period, there was an error on the address of one of the presenters. So James Jackson, if you could please correct it to Carlton, the name of his street. Sorry.
Thanks, Tracy. Tracy's made note. Thank you. Aislinn and Jack, I'll turn it over to you.
Right. My name is, sorry, I don't know how high I can raise this or not.
That's good. We can hear you then.
Okay, perfect. My name is Aislinn Main. I'm a grade 11 student at Westside Secondary School, and I am the chair of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, and I'm super pleased to be here today.
Hello, my name is Jack Bracken. I am the vice chair of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council. Without further ado, I think we can just start. As the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council is fairly new, we do have a limited amount of numbers on our work plan, but these do follow the overarching theme of youth engagement and service opportunity awareness. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Aislinn.
All right, so some of the things we've spoken about in our meeting that have ended up on the work plan here include a web page, social media content, and an e-newsletter. All of these are sort of focused around the idea of central sort of communication for, oh, it's all good. Okay, perfect. A central sort of form of communication for youth in the town, because something that we've discussed during meetings is a sort of disconnect between many of the groups, youth groups and organizations within our town. So we've been looking at the idea of having some sort of web page where we could advertise various events for youth and opportunities, and have a place to showcase maybe youth achievements, etc. And then that would potentially be included in some social media content as well through the town pages. And then the other idea that would either go alongside the web page or instead would be an e-newsletter, which would have the sort of same things as a web page. There would be information for youth about things going on in the town. There would be advertisements for maybe openings in youth groups, and it would just sort of be a central area of communication for the youth in our town.
Following this, similar to what Mayor Post has been doing with the town hall forums with the members of the community, we have started an initiative where we've been doing youth town hall forums, where we've been meeting with schools. Recently, we've met with ODSS and had a initiative there where we had a number of students come and voice both national and municipal things of their concern. So we are currently working with Westside Secondary School, where we are looking to have our second youth town hall forum, but that is where we are at with that at this moment.
Awesome. And then just the final thing we wanted to add on, I should have said this earlier with the communication part, but we have also been working to actively with our group connect with the other youth groups in the town, not just through the communication like the e-newsletter idea and webpage. And I was able to speak to the teen advisory group at the library recently, which was it's just an amazing group. And that sort of showed how important it is the connection between the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council and other groups like that. And we talked about a variety of initiatives that we'd like to see going forward and potential partnerships. So we're just really, really happy to be able to sort of be a voice for the youth and to connect with all of the groups in our town. Yeah, that's pretty much it from us. Anything to add?
I think that covers it. Thank you for your time.
I would love to turn it over to council if there's any questions. Councillor Andrews, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. And I am just enamored to hear about the reemergence of the Mayor's Youth Council, and it's great to see you up here representing, not only the youth of our community, but I'm hoping that through the communications process that you've put as part of your work plan, you have that opportunity to really embrace other youth, and even the idea of the town hall. Brilliant idea. It is no doubt you're hearing a lot, seeing a lot, and we're going to end up hearing more in the coming months and coming years. Quick question about your communications plan, because again, one thing that you talk about social media, you would know better than us on how to connect with youth. And so the idea of maybe looking at some videos, TikTok, and those kinds of portals may be an option for you. But we also have a great communications department. I know that the mayor may lead you to that might be able to provide some assistance there. But congratulations and thank you for being a part of this great committee.
Thank you so much, Councillor Andrews. And yeah, we have spoken with some of the communication folks, people who work in communication with the town. It is a bit difficult in some senses because there's just the one town social media page on Instagram, Facebook, whatnot. And we can't make our own page for a good reason. It would sort of draw the attention away from that main town page. But we're definitely hoping to send some of our information and advertise our e-newsletter and our webpage on the social media through the town page.
Just to follow up with that, Councillor Andrews, when Jessie and her team from communications were able to come and speak to the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee, one of the things they talked about was creating a dedicated page that would be a landing page for all the youth information. It would have, job postings and community engagement stuff and all of their e-newsletter news that's going on at both schools. And then, yeah, we would be able to communicate that through the town's existing social media platforms. So stay tuned. That'll be coming in 2024. So Councillor Prendergast and then Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much, Jack and Aislinn, for coming today. Great speakers, and I really appreciate hearing the voice of youth today at Council. It's fantastic. You talk about the need of a virtual space for youth in the town. Have you ever had discussions for maybe a physical space that you might want to meet within the town that where needs aren't being met? Just one thing to consider. And I was wondering what is the best platform, like Councillor Andrews had mentioned, what the best platform would be to meet youth in. If it's not through a webpage, is there something else that youth use which might be effective? And my last question is, how can we support you? I am the chair of Sustainable Orangeville, and we're always looking for partnerships. So if you'd like to approach us at one of our meetings, the invitation is open.
Jackie Naslin, I'll turn it over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councillor Pendergast. So like Ainsland has mentioned, she's currently working with other youth advisory councils within Orangeville. So we are looking to partner more and kind of have more input. Kind of as the Youth Advisory Council, we are a representation of the youth in our community, and we want to live true to that and really kind of get voices from everyone in the community. So we are currently looking to partner with other youth organizations and grab their insights as well. In terms of like the best kind of digital space, if we're unable to meet kind of in person with these individuals, we have been looking at making a youth directory board in a way of trying to make aware essentially of different services or opportunities available to youth in the community. If that isn't available, like you mentioned, Councillor Andrews, the TikTok or Instagram, those can be difficult at times just depending with algorithms. We can never really guarantee if that is getting to individuals. So we are going to be looking at perhaps doing maybe some advertising with schools with our members who are on student councils at schools and just going from there. And in terms of support, we've currently been working with Mayor Post and like you said, the communications department as well. And we've felt very supported so far. So we would love to partner with other groups of councils. And so far we've felt very supported. So thank you.
Yeah, I'd just add as well that the town halls, we weren't just necessarily going to do just the one at ODSS and the one at West Side. We were looking to potentially expand to other schools as well as have them 1 to 2 times a year going forward. So that would sort of be that physical space where youth could meet. And yeah, it would just be important that we look at branching out to some of the other schools that Orangeville youth attend. But yeah, that would sort of touch on the physical space. And then in terms of support for our group, we certainly would appreciate, being contacted with any events that you think youth might be interested in, and then we can send that out.
Thanks, Aislinn. And Jack, Deputy Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Aislinn and Jack, great presentation. Thank you for being here. I guess my question would be and I'm very interested, you talked to some of the youth groups about what is their national and local concerns. Can you just share what's the top national and what's the top local concerns that they might have?
So at the ODSS, thank you, Councillor Todd, Councillor Taylor, sorry. Sorry about that. So what was talked about, unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend in person due to a work conflict, but what was relayed to me is that we talked a lot about the housing crisis, the opioid crisis as well, which are both municipal and national issues, depending on where you live, of course. But they did talk a lot about just youth integration with the community. There are a lot of services that people don't know about. To name one, the library rents out free Wi-Fi routers for people to use, and I wasn't aware of this. So I think there are lots of services within the town that people can benefit from. They just aren't aware of what they can access. So that's more where people were looking for guidance in that area.
Councillor Sherwood?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship, and thank you so much for your enthusiasm. I am a council representative on Theatre Orangeville Board, and we have a youth representative on the board, and I was hoping that I could connect her with you. I'm sorry, her mind escapes me right now. I have so many committee members on my mind, so I don't want to say her name when I'm not confident in it. But I'd like to connect with her because she too wants to reach out to schools and other agencies to try and get more engagement with the youth for the Theatre Orangeville. So if that's okay, I'd like to give your contact information to her. Maybe she could come to one of your meetings and you guys could discuss how we could move forward with something like that with all the youth.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have her. We've had, I think, just one youth so far, but we have had a youth from the library group actually attend as well. So we're always open to having youth from other groups attend our meetings to speak with us.
Was there any additional questions or comments for Jack or Aislinn today? No? Thank you both for being here. You guys are doing a great job on the committee. I'm so fortunate to have you guys representing the youth, and thank you so much for being here, honestly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we will bring up Sandy Brown, who is the chair of the Economic Development and Culture Committee, to present their 2024 work plan. Sandy, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Post, Council, staff. As Mayor Post said, I'm here in my capacity as chair of the Economic Development and Culture Committee. I was appointed to that committee as a representative of the Dufferin Board of Trade. This past Thursday, DBOT held its Dream Dufferin Career Pathways event in partnership with Career Education Council. Over 700 students from Upper Grand District School Board attended, where they learned about career opportunities. The reason I bring it up is because I wanted to specifically thank town staff members Tony DeLise and Derek Curry, who took part in our panel discussions. They shared their career paths and were inspiring to young people who are looking at careers in skilled trades and municipal public works. Last week, I also attended an economic development seminar hosted by Dufferin County. Some very important data was shared. One of the takeaways was that 75% of employment growth occurs within existing businesses. Sometimes we think that attracting new business is the most important focus of economic development, but what the data shows is we should be focusing on business retention and expansion and helping local businesses grow. Another key takeaway was, why are employers struggling to find staff? Are young people not willing to work? Well, what the 2021 census showed is that the baby boomer employee bubble has burst, and it is retirement that is causing employment vacancies. And in fact, young people are working, and we need more of them to come out. And of course, as we know, there's immigration that's coming into play right now, and a lot of a lot of issues going on, particularly housing and immigration. But I think the reason I brought this up is because one of the opportunities that we have moving forward with our committee was to talk about business outreach. So I want to start in with the work plan now. So number one on our list is the community improvement plan support. And I know that the CIP committee is going to be constituted sometime in Q4. A representative from the EDC committee will be there and help to provide updates and opportunities for support. Every year, we also do event support. So some of the 2024 events that we're scheduling are the Orangeville and Area Job Fair, which was recently had here in 2023, the Economic Outlook Breakfast as well, which happened recently, and next year, an Arts and Culture event and an SBEC event. Also, every year, we have the Call for Artists annually. This will be happening in the spring of 2024. We're looking to initiate some additional film permit development, and that's going to be starting and launching in 2024. And then every meeting, we have sectoral updates for the members from various parts of the business community. So the business outreach, the idea is much like what has happened here with the Mayor's Advisory Committee and Mayor Post's outreach to the public, but to get out to the business community and have some small focus group meetings, hopefully with a member of our committee, a member of council, a member of staff, maybe in a group of 6 or 8 businesses, and to listen to what they have to say about their successes and their issues with the town. But I think our committee is very interested in getting something kicked off in 2024 to get out and outreach to the local community. We tend to be focusing a lot on the BIA here in the downtown core, but there are many businesses out there that we need to get out and talk to in our industrial area and in other retail areas of town. So that's pretty well the committee report. We're looking forward to working hard in 2024 and engaging further with the community. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for the update, Sandy. It looks like your committee is working very hard. Was there any questions from members of council? Councillor Andrews, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Just a comment, and Mr. Brown, thank you for your leadership on this committee. For those that have been part of this as the Vice Chair in my capacity, the opportunity to connect with the business leaders of our community is going to be very important. I stem back to a period of time when we had our BR&E process, which would have been probably even in our previous term of council, because of course COVID didn't give us that opportunity to really engage. But I look forward to this as being one of the key action items in the 2024 action or work plan.
Thanks, Councillor Andrews. Any additional questions? Seeing none. Thank you for being here,
Had
Sandy.
a busy agenda. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Grant Spence, who is the co-chair of the Equity Diversity Committee, to present the 2024 work plan for the EDI committee. Mr. Spence, thank you. Floor is yours.
Thanks, Mayor Post. Good evening, Mayor Post and council members. My name is Grant Spence, and as Vice Chair of the Town of Orangeville's Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Committee for the current term, it is my true honor and sincere pleasure to present our 2024 work plan and budget requests. We do have several other members of the committee that worked hard at getting to this point, and Councillor Andrews has done a great job as chair of this council as well. I'd also like to note the ongoing contributions and the continued organization of the committee agenda and meeting minutes by town staff member Natalie Leachy, who's been done a great job of that. Okay, so some objectives and vision for our committee. The goal and vision of the folks that make up the current committee is to act on several ideas and strategies which the previous terms committee discussed and set forth. We also understand that we are responsible for providing advice to this council on actions we feel will benefit the town from an EDI perspective. Our committee members can all certainly be described as dedicated and passionate. In our first several months, we have shared some heartfelt and emotional experiences and thoughts about ways we can successfully engage the residents of Orangeville in creating awareness of the committee's effort to implement action, while continuing to respect the diverse beings and cultures that make up our unique community. We're developing and sharing ideas and ways to improve community engagement through social media outreach and considering ideas and suggestions for the concept of moving and not entirely necessarily removing the impact of our town's previously designated culture and diversity walkways to discover other potential selected areas of the community where new concepts and designs may be implemented to support culture and diversity as well. The Orangeville EDI Committee strategy this term is to provide a more focused approach and broader coverage of issues. We've seen some fantastic examples being implemented with events dedicated to and focused on National Indigenous Peoples Day and Month, including an annual ceremony, October's Latin American Heritage Month, and the first ever cultural movie night, and Black People's History Month, as well as our annual Celebrate Your Awesome celebration of Pride. Notable opportunities and our broad-based goals include a continued desire to see increased community feedback and engagement at these and other future events within the township, which leads me into the description of our 3-point project work plan for the year ahead. Project 1 is to enhance EDI community engagement. The committee wishes to establish an allyship between various community organizations, such as the UGDSB, Community Torchlight, or Dufferin Child and Family Services, with a specific EDI focus, and work towards creating a central database for community resources. Currently, no such database exists. The objective of this part of our plan is to promote vibrancy amongst our residents, and the funding request for the work required to effectively accomplish this ongoing project is $2,000. The project is currently in progress, with some communication and work towards connecting these organizations already underway. As Hazel Mason, one of our committee members, noted at our most recent committee meeting in October. The lead on this would be the chair and myself, the vice chair, with a deadline goal of Q4 2024 to establish communications to provide support and resources for the community in one central location. Project 2 is an EDI study and strategy, and this is probably the biggest part of our project wishes. We wish to create and develop the framework for the hiring of a consultant to conduct a community-focused EDI strategy. In 2022, the county engaged in hiring a consultant to assess EDI from a broad-based perspective with the Dufferin County Equity Audit conducted in the fall of 2022. The current committee has had an opportunity to review the results of the extensive audit this past summer, which required over $100,000 of funding and outlined ideas and highlighted impacted groups and members of the surrounding community. This covered the community in general. However, all members feel that dedicating town-specific funding to finding an effective strategy for Orangeville residents specifically would potentially create increased vitality and vibrancy within the township. This is a one-time only ask and commitment, and it is a project that requires multiple sources of input and leads in finding the appropriate consultant. With the chair, myself, the vice chair, committee members, councillors, the mayor, and general managers all requested for input and participation. The project has not started yet. As funding for this project is the committee's largest ask of council, we consider this to require additional capital project funds, with procurement communications to support. $10,000 is currently dedicated to this project in the capital program. An additional $70,000 is requested in 2024 for a total of $80,000. We recognize that there may be questions surrounding this funding request and are open to hearing them, of course. This project developed through multiple committee meetings and an overall strongly supported belief from all members of our committee that we need to find an effective EDI strategy to implement for both the present and future, which will truly resonate with residents and support our diverse community members. Deadline goal for this project is also Q4 of 2024. Project 3, Community Wellness. This project is an advocacy to establish further mental health strategies and support in collaboration with other community organizations and agencies. The objective and plan of this ongoing project is to promote the continued well-being of our residents. With respect to status, we have initiated this project, and as a part of town advocacy efforts and the EDI committee members, further dialogue will be taking place with various ministries and organizations. As a recent example, the committee was engaged by Oscar Vigil, the executive director of the Hispanic Canadian Heritage Council, and he demonstrated a particular openness and willingness to work with our committee on continued efforts to find ways to celebrate and share Hispanic culture through the development of events based on past successful concepts. We feel there's other opportunities to engage the community in other cultures and other aspects of this moving forward as well. I requested $1,000 for this project and a deadline of completion set for Q4 of 2024. We feel that all three of these projects share a committee's strategic plan goal of positively contributing to furthering community engagement and vitality. Thank you kindly in advance, Madam Mayor and council members, for your consideration of our work plan budget for the coming year.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I will turn it now to council. Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Great presentation, Mr. Spence. Thank you very much for your contributions. I love your three, the community involvement, study, and strategic and wellness. I think they all make perfect sense to me. The piece about like when you're going to throw an ask of that size at council in a time where we're pressed, I mean, you have to expect that we would have questions. And
of course,
I think I love the fact that you referenced the county. So the county did some amazing work recently on EDI. And I'm just wondering, and I don't expect you to answer us tonight. Maybe it's just something that you take away and go back to the committee. There is a unique expertise at the county that we haven't experienced before, really in the history of our area. The gentleman that runs it, Barry Rohan, is just an incredible individual. And I'm just wondering if we could consult with him a bit more about his thoughts and
definitely
where we would go before we would enact a consultant.
For sure. That's something we're already engaged in with him. One of our committee members actually got quite involved with him as well. Go ahead, Joe, if you want to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
To answer the question, Deputy Mayor Taylor, we actually have Mr. Thompson as well as one of his associates coming to our committee meeting this week to, in fact, discuss this. I think that, for those in the audience, the county's approach to EDI is ambitious, and through the strategy in the report that cost a lot of money. It is specific to the county, but there are some best practices that were put in that strategy that, in fact, we're already pulling out as part of our discussion pieces. And so I think the objective behind the ask is to take a look at something that may be more specific to Orangeville, but that is still up for discussion. But I think that the opportunity to have that dialogue this week will certainly foster further opportunities for more dialogue to come. This is, again, why it's targeted for Q4 of 2024 as even a consideration.
Follow up, Deputy Mayor. Yep.
Just a comment, if I could. I mean in no way to diminish the great work of the committee. I know the excellent people that are on that committee. It's just we're hearing work plans now, and the next step is we're going to go into budget. And I said to a few of the presenters tonight, I'm concerned about where we're going here, and I've been very vocal about what's going to happen from a property tax increase this year. I don't think any of us are going to be happy with what's going to happen in the end. So it's going to have to be really purposeful and I don't know, something that really proves that this is the year to do something like that. And believe me, the work that you're doing in that committee is super important, and none of us would diminish that by any stretch. I just worry about where this is all going to shake out, and I'm looking at you as we speak to it. So thank you very much to both of you for your comments.
Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from and appreciate it too as well, Councillor Taylor. I think, it's an investment in our community and our town, not for the short term. It's a one-time investment. It's a long-term, result. Hopefully, that's what we want to see from that, right?
Councillor Prendergast.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Spence. It's nice to hear from you. I have a question about your first item on your work plan with partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just to point out, you mentioned the Upper Grand District School Board, and also in town, there's the Conseil Scolaire Vieux-Monde and also Dufferin Peel Catholic District School Board.
Mm-hmm.
If they could be included also.
Yeah, we're open to connecting with everyone. I literally just gave 3 examples. Hazel brought out the initiative at our last committee meeting, and just started to lay out sort of the foundations for where we want to go with it. We want to have all the input we can, so we're not looking to exclude anyone. That's the last thing the inclusion committee should be doing, right?
Thank you so much.
Is there any additional questions for Mr. Spence? Seeing none, thank you so much for being here, Grant.
That's great.
I just wanted to make a comment that I do look forward to the strategy coming to fruition. It was something that we had set money aside during the last term of council to try and get that strategy done for our community. And it's an important piece because what gets planned and what gets scheduled gets done. So we're at a point where we need to move some projects forward, but we have to link them to a strategy. So thank you so much for bringing that forward. I look forward to seeing it in the budget, and hopefully we can get it to fit in this year's plan. So
I appreciate that, Mayor Post. I also brought an outline for each council member.
Wonderful. So if you can leave it with Lindsay, she'll make sure that we all get it.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Next up, we have Linda Addy from Heritage Orangeville to speak about the 2024 work plan. Ms. Addy, welcome. The floor is yours.
Mayor Post and members of council, it's delightful to be here this evening. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is what is not on our work plan, and that is all the work that we do that is completely budget-free. And what I consider our core responsibilities, our statutory responsibilities as advisors to council. We have members that on their own time advise council through planning, through the sign bylaw applications, planning applications, heritage permit applications, and we're very delighted to do that work. And because it has no budgetary implications, you don't find it on a work plan, but we're a very hardworking committee. I would first like to, on that vein, we have also a somewhat unseasoned committee now. We've had a lot of turnover in the last few years. And so one of our objectives in our work plan is education for our committee members, because we do have statutory responsibilities under the Ontario Heritage Act. And it's important that members understand those responsibilities. So one of our big components of our budget is sending members on education opportunities so that they understand their role as an advisory committee to the town. The other things on our work plan are the fun things. A lot of it is our non-statutory responsibilities in providing awareness of Orangeville's incredible heritage and culture. And of course, centered largely around big projects that we do every year. Our wonderful calendar that we've been doing since the year 2000. So we're on our 23rd calendar. Our 24th calendar is at the printer now and will be coming out shortly. And as well, around Heritage Week, we have a number of things planned. We're hoping to partner with the library, the museum, and the BIA to have information provided to the public in a well-presented format about the built heritage in town as well as the cultural heritage in town. And we've been working on one of Councillor Sherwood's pet projects, banners celebrating Heritage Week. So those are the main things that we are working on in our non-statutory areas. And I'm open to any questions you might have.
You are most definitely a very busy committee, and we thank you very much for everything that you do. We rely on your expertise and advice for a lot of things in this community, so thank you for doing it. Was there questions from any members of council today? Seeing none. That was easy. You covered it really well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Addy. Up next, we have Erin Goodyear, the Vice Chair of the Homelessness Task Force, to present the 2024 work plan for that committee. Hi, Ms. Goodyear. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
Good. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor Post, Deputy Mayor Taylor, honorable councillors. My name is Erin Goodyear, and I am the Vice Chair of the Homelessness Task Force. Tonight, I am here to represent the members of our committee and share with you our work plan for 2024. I would first like to introduce the committee members that sit on this Homelessness Task Force along with myself. Our Chair, Councillor Joe Andrews, Councillor Sherwood, Roberto Alvarez, Terry Carter, Erica Dunn, Trish Grab, and of course, myself. We are also supported by two exceptional staff from the town of Orangeville, Tracy Berry and Heather Savage. The Homelessness Task Force meets monthly with the mandate of advising and exploring options, along with working with stakeholders relating to homelessness issues in the town of Orangeville and surrounding area. In conjunction with this, we are considering affordable housing solutions that are creative and supportive. The critical areas of focus for 2024 are the following: making recommendations to adjust zoning and land to use policies to further support affordable housing initiatives. We will address this by reviewing zoning bylaws, meeting with the town of Orangeville planning staff, and working with the Homeowners Association to pitch ideas and develop marketing tools. Objective number 2 is to explore the opportunity to provide safe, accessible spaces temporarily in local community centers, focusing on Alders, Kinsman, and Kinnett Room, as well as the Mill Street Library. We will do this through exploring the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan. We will also work with local shelters operating hours in mind to avoid overlapping and gaps in services. Environmental scans will also be completed in all indoor available spaces to ensure that all available equipment is accessible through resourcing consistently for people who are in need. Resources such as shower and food security through local partnerships. We will also be exploring the opportunity to have therapeutic resources like social workers and mental health professionals on site to provide immediate support. Our final area of focus is that about advocacy at all levels of government, to stand in solidarity and speak on behalf of the voiceless, those that are the most vulnerable in our community, and remind them and all members of government that people who are experiencing homelessness are people first. It is our role to ensure that the necessary funding supports exist to ensure that organizations have the sustainable funding that they need in order to do the vital life-saving work that they do every day. This task force understands that in order for change to happen, we must do the work that is needed to educate and advocate on behalf of others. Our hope is to foster the development of a critical path of support in our community. This path will be the guiding light and give people hope. On behalf of the members of this task force, I want to thank you, Mayor Post, and your council for the continued support of this task force and your advocacy to support members of your community, housed or unhoused. And I would like to leave you with one final thought. There is a lot that happens in the world around us that we cannot control. Forest fires, earthquakes, droughts, conflict, and many other things. But when we know that there are people that are hungry and unhoused in our community, we can help. We can be the light at the dark. We can be the light at the end of a dark tunnel. We can be the hope that a person needs. All that we must do together is act. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Goodyear. The work that your committee is doing is absolutely crucial and becoming more and more crucial every day. If you stay tuned at the end of the meeting or towards the end of the meeting, I do have a notice coming to request or to advocate to the province to increase Ontario works rates, because we know that that's a significant problem that contributes to poverty and to homelessness. So stay tuned for that. It was unanimously supported at the county, and I'm bringing the same motion forward tonight. But at that, I will turn it over to council for any questions. Any questions, comments? Seeing none. No, we're good. Thank you so much, Ms.
you.
Goodyear, for being here.
Thank you very much.
Up next, I will bring up Sherry Marks, who is the Orangeville Library Board Chair, and Darla Fraser, this Orangeville Library CEO, for a library board update and presentation. Over to you, Ms. Marks and Ms. Fraser. The floor is yours.
Good evening, Mayor Post, Deputy Mayor Taylor, and councillors. As you know, my name is Sherry Marks, and I'm the chair of the Orangeville Public Library Board. With me today, I have Darla Fraser, our CEO, as well as most of our other board members, all except one. So we're all in the room with you. We want to thank you for your time this evening. We want to take the opportunity to provide an update on Mill Street. I know that's exciting news and everyone's been anxiously awaiting it, as well as our thoughts on the importance of our Makerspace FTE budget request. We believe that the library is a place for everyone to connect and discover, where learning and possibility allow each member to soar. This past September, before town staff had finalized the budget, full budget incorporating all requests, our board looked at the long-term growth targets for the library and approved 3 individual SLCs. Those service level requirements included a makerspace specialist, a community engagement specialist, and an increase to the part-time assistant hours. We are thrilled that the Makerspace Specialist is one of the FTEs included in the upcoming budget presentation as we continue to focus on the long-term growth of the strategy for the library. We completely understand that this is a tough budget year with no easy decisions in sight for any of you, with pressures from many sides to contend with, including falling glass. You may recall that there was a community engagement survey completed for the library not too long ago, which told us that our residents wanted more programs and more technology from the library. That was loud and clear, and it was a well participated in survey across the residents of the town. So even with the closure of Mill Street, the library maintained its service levels. We were connecting with 30 community partners, holding over 50 outreach events, providing almost 300 programs and events. We had over 100,000 physical items borrowed and over 60,000 e-resources streamed and downloaded. The library staff are an absolutely amazing team, and we are so very proud of them. So did you know that as of today, the Mill Street building has been closed 400 days, right today. And we are excited to share with you some updates. We have waited off on all press releases, so that way you were the first to hear any of the dates. We are currently in a gradual move-in process. November 17th will be the last day of operations at the train station. November 18th to the 20th, we will close the library for final preparations. And November the 21st is the day we will open our doors to the public for a soft opening. We also plan to have a grand opening launch sometime in the new year after the holiday excitement is over, so that way everyone can attend. So that's the date that everyone can mark it in their calendars. Some Mill Street highlights include, of course, the creation of a new elevator shaft and installing a new elevator, a glass atrium at the front of the building, a new garden and plant materials for the front of the atrium, renovating the public washrooms on the lower level, a new accessible washroom on the main floor, revamping the front reception area and installing a new accessible service desk, updating the flooring, lighting, and furniture in the lobby, modernizing the electrical, mechanical, and fire safety systems, and enhancing the interior ambiance through painting and decorating. As with any construction project, the challenges we faced may have delayed our opening, but they could not dampen our collective spirit, nor the incredible support we received from the community. The engagement survey also told us we needed to focus more on technology. A makerspace is a hub of technology housed inside the library, extending the library's resource beyond its current offering. The makerspace is a place where technology connects people to innovation. So just think about that, right? It's more than just books, it's technology, and it has a lot of things that are involved. We all know that the library has books, programs, proctoring services, events such as Battle of the Books, human libraries, staff to answer questions and provide support, and much more, and routers to rent to or loan out to students or anybody else. The makerspace is a key element that will help our residents keep up with the ever-changing technological landscape. It's a place where our residents can use technology, not normally within their reach, to learn and to think creatively and to explore. A place where they can experiment with equipment and with the help of someone who can assist and guide them along their learning journey. The makerspace can be divided into different areas such as a maker lab, a media lab, STEAM programming. It can include things as simple as workstations for craft paper, glue, modeling, clay, to all the way to sophisticated equipment for photography, 3D printers, laser cutters, or workstations to dismantle donated electronics. It can house areas for green screen recording videos, a soundproof studio for recordings, or a place for laser engraving. The possibilities with technology are always endless, only limited by our imagination and funding, of course. It's a place where students, teachers, parents, seniors, and every member of our town can create and explore using technology as a tool. And if they don't know how to use it, or if they want to try it out for the first time, they can come to the library and they can have someone assist them. To date, we have been able to carve out a physical space in the older library and secure a grant to purchase equipment. The next step is to bring on board a dedicated person to bring the makerspace to life. This individual would bring the equipment expertise, create manuals and policies, as well as be that key resource for our residents. In conclusion, we have updated the Orangeville Public Library by enhancing our beautiful heritage structure with modern features that embrace the rich historical feel. We have created the technology center that our residents can use and learn from. And as always, we will continue to provide a vast array of programming for everyone. The library is not an emergency service. However, it relates to what it provides, or however, as it relates to what it provides to this town, our residents, it is an essential service and one that, when invested in, provides so much more than books. It creates a vibrant, dynamic space dedicated to building and sustaining community, championing inclusivity, and encouraging literacy and learning in all its forms. So thank you for this opportunity to connect and engage with you. We welcome any questions or feedback you may have. We will definitely soar further, faster, and higher together. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Marks. I will turn it over to council for any questions. No questions? Oh, Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
First of all, great presentation. Thank you very much, Ms. Marks. I want to make sure I'm thinking before I'm speaking. I'm always been a supporter of the library. The Mill Street location to me is a crown jewel for the town. It is absolutely essential that it is modern and that it has the services that people want. So I will always support the library for sure. When I think about the asks of people, I'm almost crestfallen because I'm concerned about where we're going again. And it's the same comments that I gave Mr. Spence. So I'm not treating anybody unfairly here. I'm worried about what we're going to do and where we're going to go together as a town. So I guess my wish, if I could have things be different, the library board has authority to do things on their own. And I wish that in this instance that the library board's budget didn't have to come to council. I wish that you guys could just make your own way in the way that the legislation says that you would. But unfortunately, you can't. You have to come to this body, which is, I'm sure, is annoying to your board that you have to do that. Anyway, I just want to preface that you have a very supportive council of the library. I just am thinking long and hard and seriously about what we need to do. And so whatever we decide to do, know that this council supports the CIO, whom I've known a long time and have great respect for, and that board is a group of all-stars in the community and great respect for them as well. So just wanted to share that before we get into deliberations of what we're going to have to do.
Oh, thank you Deputy Mayor Taylor, for your comments. We definitely feel the support of council and every single member, and we do recognize it's not an easy year for anyone, whether it's council or residents or town staff, committees, boards, or anything else. And no matter what council has to do for the greater good of the town of Orangeville, we will always work towards the long-term growth strategy for the library.
Thank you, Ms. Marks. I think it's important for both you and Mr. Spence to know as we talk about this that council hasn't seen a budget yet, so we don't know exactly what the town's going to be presenting. So it's not like we're sitting here with all the answers at this point because we just don't have them. The budget presentation and budget process will be starting in the coming weeks within the town. So none of us have any idea what we're walking into yet. So we're just going to nicely receive your asks today and not approve anything until we see the whole budget. Was there any additional questions from members of council? No, seeing none. Thank you both very much for being here, and I look forward to walking through the front door on the 21st. Thank you. Okay, we will turn over to the time now where we have our question period. Are there any members of the public connecting via telephone, Jerry? No, seeing none. Is there anybody within the gallery who wishes to ask a question? Go ahead, Mr. Smith. If you can just come up and say your name and address for the record and go ahead and ask your question.
Matthew Smith, 38 McCarthy Street. The timing of this works out well because it's actually about the library. I was looking at the September 27th library board minutes, and in section 7.5, there's something for report 23-18, the 2024 budget. And in it, it mentions $11 million for project B1286.1200, and that seems to be set aside for 2028. And then when I looked up the current budget, the document, it says that project is for a 16,000 square foot expansion to the Alder Library, but then it says it's removed from the current budget. So I guess that's just set aside for future considerations, or I guess it's pushed back to 2028. I'm just a little bit confused by it. I don't quite understand the way that's set up. So I'm hoping maybe someone can clarify that for me.
Which member of the board would like to take it? Okay, we'll turn it over to Ms. Savage.
Thank you, Mayor Post. Yes, that's true. So I guess last year there was $11 million proposed for a budget for an expansion for library based on the library's strategic plan. In there, it says that in future, they should plan for 14,000 additional square feet of library space. Reviewing the capital program this year, we've put that on hold because we're conducting a facility needs assessment, which will address that 14,000 square feet. And once we have more of an informed decision, it will go back into the budget, however we decide or however council approves through that consultation process.
Okay, but so just so I understand here, so it's still kind of earmarked though. It's I guess the estimated cost for the expansions is 11 million, and that's for 2028. Am I to understand that correctly?
Ms. Savage.
Thank you, Mayor Post. Sorry, I was not present for the budget process last year, and I'm looking at my other colleagues, and neither were they. So I'm going to go by memory and from what I know. I believe it was the library strategic plan that had recommended $11 million for an expansion. It went in last year through a capital program. We've taken it out until we can make, as I said, a more informed decision as to what year, how much it will cost, because as you know, construction costs have gone up significantly. Is it 14,000 square feet we need? That will complement the rest of our facilities across the town.
Okay. All right, that's good.
CAO Smith has something to add?
I'll just comment. I think we should defer any questions regarding the 2024 budget until the actual budget is tabled. Things can change. Ms. Savage answered the question appropriately, but now isn't the time to be debating or asking great detail questions about the 2024 budget.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
Was there any other questions from the gallery? Seeing none, we will move on to our consent agenda. The following resolutions have been prepared to facilitate council's consideration for various matters. So the ones that will be included in the consent agenda include, the recommendation is that all consent agenda items for November 13th, 2023 council meeting listed under 13.1 staff reports, 13.2 correspondence, and 13.3 committee board members be received, and that the recommendations listed under 13.1 staff reports be approved. Was there any items that anybody wanted to pull out of the consent agenda before I ask for a motion? No, seeing none. Can I have a motion then, as I just read? Councillor McIntosh and Councillor Stevens. Any questions or comments? All in favor? And that is carried unanimously. I will move on to item 14, which is staff reports. Coming to the table next, we have 2 and 4 Hannah Street, the holding zone removal. The recommendation is that report INS 2023-74 regarding 2 and 4 Hannah Street holding zone symbol removal recommendation for file number RZH 2023-1 be received, and that the application to remove the holding symbol RZH 2023-1 be approved, and that the bylaw included as attachment number 4 to this report be passed to remove the holding zone symbol from the lands legally described as lots 8 and 9, block 1 of registered plan 216. 7R 6765, parts 2 and 3 in the town of Orangeville, county of Dufferin, known as 2 and 4 Hannah Street, and that council pass a bylaw authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute the development agreement included as attachment number 3 to this report to satisfy a condition to the holding zone symbol removal. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Andrews, seconded by Councillor Sherwood. Any questions or comments? Councillor Andrews and then Deputy Mayor.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I'm presuming this would go to Mr. Ward. Mr. Ward, and again, this is just a very quick question based on the information the council has received, and even anecdotally, I've driven by and I've seen a new garage that has been, in fact, erected in the property that is just south. So just refreshing my memory, and I've looked at the plan, what is the official setback when someone, we have this in front of us, but then you have a new garage that has been erected by the property owner? Does it change anything regarding this footprint at all, or is there a minimum standard regarding the setback of that, the new garage on the property that's south of this particular property in question?
Mr. Ward?
Sure, Your Worship, and through you, I haven't been into the area recently, so I'm not certain about the structure in question. However, the land use layout for the subject lands includes, of course, a detached dwelling unit more at the corner, and then 2 semi-detached properties to the rear. I suspect that the structure in question relates to the existing dwelling on the property, depends on the size and the area of the structure. If it meets a certain height and an area requirement, there essentially are no setbacks. It's sort of akin to like a tool shed or something like that. If it's a little larger, then it has to meet approximately a 4-foot setback from property boundaries. And I suspect as part of that, it would be measured to the newly established lot fabric as part of that development.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Deputy Mayor Taylor and then Councillor Sherwood.
Yes, I just think it's important. Excuse me, just recovering from a cold, my apologies. I think it's important when you're going to vote no to something that you just share why you're going to vote no. And this has been a long ongoing issue. This property was pushed forward by the developer against the wishes of the people in that community. I have voted no every single time that this has come to council. I just want to share too, I understand that the ship has sailed. This is happening regardless of my actions. I just want to be consistent in my approach, and I will not be supporting this.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Sherwood.
Yes, Your Worship. I will be supporting it because I want to see more housing here in the town. My question to staff is, in your report, you mentioned that on a couple occasions that this went to the Ontario Land Tribunals. Can I be assured by your report that there's nothing further in front of the land tribunals? That's all been settled, and this is just to move things along. This isn't something we're being forced to do because of that OLT decision?
Mr. Ward?
That's correct, Your Worship, and through you to Councillor Sherwood, there are no other matters remaining for this development project before the tribunal. And with the matter before you, it's a zoning bylaw amendment to remove the holding symbol. That type of application, there are no appeal rights. The only entity that can appeal that is the applicant.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Any additional questions? Okay, I will call the vote. All in favor? And those opposed? Deputy Mayor is opposed. On to 14.2, a sign variance application. The recommendation in the report is that report CPS 2023-78, sign variance application 2715432 Ontario Inc. at 287 Broadway be received, and that council deny a variance to the sign bylaw for two signs. Sign 1 is a 0.98 meter wide and 1.21 meter height illuminated electric message sign. Window display message sign, and sign number 2 is a 2.48 meter wide by 2.03 meter height illuminated electronic message display ground sign with a total sign face area of 1.46 square meters. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Sherwood, seconded by Councillor Andrews. Questions or comments? Councillor Sherwood?
Yes, Your Worship. I will definitely be supporting to deny this application. Even though it's outlined in the report, I just want to reiterate that this is an historical building. This is an 1895 building that housed our postmaster. So the comments from the Heritage Committee is that definitely an illuminated sign on the front of this historic building will not complement the historical characteristics.
Thank you for that, Councillor Sherwood. Any additional questions or comments, Deputy Mayor?
Just a similar comment as Councillor Sherwood, if I may, and that is we have a sign bylaw. We have a sign bylaw for a reason, and I think it's really important that we stick with the parameters of that agreement. And going outside of it, for one, will just open the floodgates for others. And you know, this is probably the 4th or 5th time in my time on council that I've seen a challenge to the sign bylaw. And my consistent approach will be that I support the sign bylaw that we have in play, and I won't be supporting the business. And although I welcome the business and I wish them well, it's just we can't go outside of what we currently have.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? And that is carried unanimously. At this time, I will turn the chair over to Deputy Mayor Taylor as I have a notice of motion coming to the meeting.
Thank you very much, Mayor Post. So we have a motion, a notice of motion on the floor at this time, and I'll turn it back to you to read and explain your notice of motion, and then I'll bring council in.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Taylor. At our most recent meeting of Dufferin County Council, we approved unanimously this motion. It came out of discussion that we had at the Health and Human Services Committee meeting at the county level, which is a committee that I sit on as well. And as we talk about poverty and we talk about homelessness and we talk about all of the things affecting our community right now, in all of the time of all of this economic instability, we've had changes to the Ontario Works platform, and unfortunately, it's actually reduced not the money that the participants are getting, but the money that's coming to the county to be able to distribute and to administer this program. There's been lots of challenges and lots of change, and at the same level, we've had lots of advocacy to increase the Ontario Works rates, as we know that they have remained stagnant for far too long. They are not a living amount of money. It's become extremely challenging for anybody utilizing Ontario Works to get themselves in an upwardly mobile state. So the notice of motion that's here is the same one that we passed verbatim at the county council. So I will read it. Bear with me, it is a little bit long. Whereas poverty is taking a devastating toll on communities, undermining a healthy and prosperous Ontario, with people in receipt of Ontario Works being disproportionately impacted, and whereas the cost of food, housing, and other essential items have outpaced the highest inflation rates seen in a generation, and whereas people in need of social assistance have been legislated into poverty, housing insecurity, hunger, poorer health, their motives questioned, and their dignity undermined, and whereas Ontario Works financial assistance rates have been frozen since 2018, and whereas the newly introduced Common Assessment Tool, known as CAT, questionnaire developed by the provincial government for use with Ontario Works and Ontario Disability Program recipients contains complex and invasive personal health-related questions, and whereas the use of the Common Assessment Tool provides no benefits to clients, it does not score, provide results, assess client need, and does not match those in needs to the services they require, and whereas the Common Assessment Tool contains questions mirrored in the Ontario Health common assessment of needs used by health providers, and whereas privacy obligations under the Personal Health Information Protection Act do not extend to municipal delivery agents for Ontario Works, and whereas designated service managers are doing their part but do not have the resources, capacity, or tools to provide the necessary income and health-related supports to people experiencing poverty, and whereas leadership and urgent action is needed from the provincial government to immediately develop, resource, and implement a comprehensive plan to address the rising levels of poverty in Ontario, in particular for those on Ontario Works. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Orangeville calls on the provincial government to urgently, number one, at least double Ontario Works rates and index in rates to inflation, answering those calls that have already been made by Raise the Rates campaign and the Income Security Advocacy Centre. Number two, to commit to ongoing cost of living increases above and beyond the rate of inflation to make up for the years that they were frozen. Item C is to commit to jointly working between the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services and the Ministry of Health on the best methods of assessing client needs and then matching those in need to the services they require. And number four, be it further resolved that a copy of this motion be sent to the Minister of Children, Community and Social Services, the Minister of Health, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Ontario Municipal Social Services Association, the Western Ontario Wardens Caucus, the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, and all Ontario municipalities. And I'm looking for a seconder for that motion, please.
Andrews, you going to second that? Very good. Okay. Any council would, thank you very much, Mayor Post, by the way. Would you like a glass of water or, you know, right?
Threw my glass on the floor, it looks like, so I'll have to pass on the water.
Council, would anyone like to speak to this? Any questions or comments at this time? Oh, Councillor Pendergrass.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Taylor. I support this 100%. Just over $700 a month is not enough to live on. It's certainly not enough to even feed yourself, let alone find adequate housing. So 100% I support this. I just wanted to call your attention to the typo in the therefore section under C. It says commit to joint working between the ministry, either jointly or perhaps change the word joint to partnership, but that's it. Good job, Mayor Post.
Very good. Anyone else from council like to speak to this motion? No, seeing none. All in favor? Yes. None opposed. That motion passes, and I will turn the meeting back to you, Mayor Post.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor, and thank you, Council, for the unanimous support. The county will be very pleased to see that they've got the support of the lower tier municipalities as well, so thank you. Are there any notices of motion at tonight's meeting that anybody would like to bring forward? Okay, seeing none, was there any announcements by any members of council? Councillor Sherwood?
Yes, Your Worship. I'm going to put a plug in here for Theatre Orangeville. They're hosting Twas the Night Holiday Gala fundraising that will be happening at the Orangeville Best Western on Saturday, November 25th. This is a significant fundraiser that we need to help support our wonderful performing arts. So the deadline is this Thursday, so I encourage you to reach out to the Theatre Orangeville box office or go on their website, theatreorangeville.ca, and purchase your tickets now, and we'll see you on the 25th.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sherwood. Any other announcements from any members of council? Yes, I am. I'm just going to wait and see if anybody else is going to. Okay, so Christmas is coming in the town of Orangeville, and this weekend we have a very, very busy one. We've got our Christmas tree lighting is happening on Friday evening. Those festivities start here at Town Hall outside at 5:30. The official part of the ceremony starts at 6:30 with a reading of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas by David Nairn, as we do every year. It wouldn't be Christmas without David. And then the Christmas tree lighting with Santa and members of the BIA and members of council will be there as well. Looking forward to that. There is also a Christmas market on Saturday morning, starting at 10 o'clock at the Agricultural Center. It is $3 to enter that market. All of that funds raised go to the Orangeville Food Bank. And then, of course, it's our annual Santa Claus Parade is on Saturday evening, which starts at 5 p.m., starts on First Street, works its way down Broadway, and then back to Rotary Park. So it's going to be a very, very busy weekend. Looking forward to all of those. I would just also like to add that a few things coming up right now are raising both money and food for the Orangeville Food Bank. We've accepted the call to action from the Council of the Town of Amaranth, who challenged the Town of Orangeville to collect food and raise the most amount of food. So there's a box out here. We are going to take down the Town of Amaranth, Township of Amaranth. We're a competitive crew, so we will be getting lots of food. You will stay tuned. We've all got our food donations here that are going to be starting it off. And then also at Tim Hortons, there is the holiday cookie campaign, and all of those Smile Cookie money is going to the Orangeville Food Bank as well. So lots of people donating to the Orangeville Food Bank. They are very much in need of our support. So we look forward to all of your support. Come and support Orangeville, kicking the Township of Amaranth's butt and raising the most amount of food. Was there any further announcements by any members of council? Miss anything? We're good. Okay, so we will move into the bylaw portion. The recommendation is that the bylaws listed be read 3 times and finally passed. We will start with the bylaw to provide the record retention schedule and related principles, policies, and procedures for the records of the Corporation of the Town of Orangeville. The bylaw to authorize entering into an execution of a memorandum of understanding with Credit Valley Conservation for the delivery of programs and services. A bylaw to amend bylaw 78-2005, which is the bylaw to regulate traffic in the Town of Orangeville. The bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 22-90 is amended with respect to parts 2 and 3 of lots 8 and 9, block 1 of registered plan number 216, Town of Orangeville, County of Dufferin, municipally known as 41 William Street, which is file number RZH 2023-1. A bylaw to authorize entering into an execution of a development agreement with Duncan Shaw, and a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Orangeville at its regular council meeting held today, November 13th. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Stevens and Councillor McIntosh, questions or comments? All in favor? And that is carried unanimously, and a motion to adjourn. Deputy Mayor and Councillor Prendergast, all in favor? Carried unanimously. We will see you all next time. Thank you for being here.